Oliver and the Moonlit Carousel. Once upon a time, in a quiet town that lay between rolling hills and sparkling streams, there lived a boy named Oliver. Oliver loved exploring, especially at night when the world seemed full of secrets waiting to be discovered. His favorite place to visit was the old park at the edge of town. During the day, it was a quiet place with benches and flowers. But at night, under the silver glow of the moon, Oliver always felt there was something magical about it. One evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Oliver decided to sneak out of his room and visit the park. He wrapped himself in his favorite blue cloak and tiptoed through the house. When he reached the park, it was bathed in soft moonlight, and everything looked different, almost enchanted. As Oliver wandered down the gravel path, he noticed something unusual. A part of the park that was usually empty now held a carousel. It was unlike any carousel Oliver had ever seen. The horses were carved with exquisite detail. Their eyes seemed to shimmer with life, and there were other animals too. A lion with a flowing mane, a bear with gentle eyes, and even a graceful swan. The carousel glowed with a soft, magical light, and gentle music drifted through the air, like a lullaby played on a silver flute. Oliver approached the carousel, his eyes wide with wonder. There was no one else around, yet the carousel seemed to be waiting for him. A sign hung above it, written in flowing golden letters. The Moonlit Carousel, one ride for one wish. Oliver's heart skipped a beat. A wish? He had always dreamed of having a grand adventure, something beyond his quiet town and the familiar hills. He stepped closer, and as if sensing his presence, the carousel began to move, the animals bobbing up and down slowly, inviting him to ride. Without hesitation, Oliver climbed onto the back of the lion, feeling the smooth, polished wood beneath his hands. As soon as he settled into place, the music grew louder, and the carousel began to spin faster. The world around Oliver blurred, and the moonlight seemed to wrap around him like a blanket. He closed his eyes, feeling the wind rush past his face. When he opened his eyes again, Oliver found himself in a completely different place. He was no longer in the park, but in a beautiful moonlit forest. The carousel had vanished, and instead the lion beneath him had come to life. Its mane flowed in the breeze, and its eyes glowed softly in the moonlight. "Welcome, young rider," the lion said in a deep, gentle voice. "I am Leo, guardian of the Moonlit Forest. You have been brought here because your heart wishes for adventure." Oliver could hardly believe his eyes or ears. "Where are we?" he asked, looking around at the towering trees, their leaves shimmering like silver. "This is the Moonlit Forest," Leo replied, "a place where dreams and magic come alive. Tonight you shall have the adventure you seek, but you must also help us. The magic of the forest is fading, and only someone pure of heart can restore it." Oliver nodded eagerly. "What do I need to do?" Leo began to walk through the forest, and Oliver followed, his feet barely touching the ground. They walked until they reached a clearing where a large pond lay, its surface smooth as glass. Around the pond were flowers that had lost their color, their petals drooping. "These are the moonflowers," Leo explained. "They bloom only under the light of the full moon, but lately they have been fading. The forest needs their magic to thrive. You must help them bloom again." Oliver knelt by the pond, looking at the sad, wilted flowers. He thought for a moment, then remembered how his grandmother always sang to her garden, believing that the flowers loved to hear her voice. It was worth a try. Taking a deep breath, Oliver began to sing a soft, gentle tune, a lullaby his grandmother had taught him. His voice floated through the night air, and the pond seemed to shimmer in response. Slowly, the moonflowers began to lift their heads, their petals glowing faintly. Encouraged, Oliver continued to sing, his voice filled with warmth and hope. One by one, the moonflowers bloomed, their colours returning. Pale blues, soft pinks, and gentle purples. The clearing filled with a soft, magical glow, and the air seemed to hum with energy. Leo watched, his eyes filled with gratitude. "You did it, young one," Leo said as the last flower bloomed, its petals shining like stars. "The Moonlit Forest thanks you." Suddenly the pond began to ripple, and from its depths rose a figure. A beautiful woman with hair that flowed like water, and a gown made of shimmering moonlight. She smiled at Oliver, her eyes kind and wise. "I am Selene, the spirit of the Moonlit Forest," she said. "Because of your kindness and courage, the magic of this place is restored. You may now make your wish." Oliver thought for a moment. He had wished for adventure, and he had found it, more wonderful than he could have ever imagined. But now, standing in the glowing clearing, he realized there was something he wanted even more. "I wish to be able to return here," Oliver said. "I want to visit the Moonlit Forest again and help keep its magic alive." Selene's smile grew, and she nodded. A true and selfless wish. "Very well, Oliver. You shall always be welcome in the Moonlit Forest." She reached out, touching his forehead gently. A soft glow spread from her hand, and Oliver felt a warmth fill him, as if he were being wrapped in moonlight. "Whenever the moon is full and your heart calls for adventure, the Moonlit Carousel will find you," Selene said, "and you may return to us." With those words, the forest around Oliver began to blur, the light growing brighter until he had to close his eyes. When he opened them again, he was back in the park, sitting on the lion of the Moonlit Carousel. The music was fading, and the carousel was slowing to a stop. Oliver climbed down, his heart full of wonder. He looked around, but the magical glow was gone, and the park was quiet once more. The carousel stood still, as if it had never moved at all. But Oliver knew better. He touched the lion's mane, whispering, "Thank you, Leo. Until next time." With a smile on his face, Oliver turned and made his way back home, the promise of future adventures warming his heart. And from that night on, whenever the full moon rose high in the sky, Oliver knew that the Moonlit Carousel would be waiting, ready to take him on another journey into the magic of the Moonlit Forest.